On today's Solo Sunday News, CM Punk and Seth Rollins involved in an altercation at Fanatics Fest, Stone Cold Steve Austin to wrestle one more match maybe, an NXT champion has been forced to vacate their title, and Kota Ibushi makes a surprise return to AEW. Hello and welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling, the Solo Sunday News. Myself, Andrew Pollard. I hope you're well, I hope you're good, and I hope your weekend is going as well as possible. Right, let's start things off with a rather wild interaction for fans in attendance at Fanatics Fest yesterday. Now, this is, from what I understand, Fanatics Fest is a 3-day event this year, Friday, Saturday, and then today, Sunday. Now, of course, WWE has quite the presence at these events at Fanatics Fest. Yesterday, just from having a little look online, it looks like there was autograph signings and photo ops with the likes of Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton, The Undertaker, Randy Orton, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, John Cena, main event Jey Uso, Yeet. Oh, and of course, CM Punk and Seth Rollins, which is where things got a little interesting, as the two of those, they got into it in front of everybody. Now, from what I can gather, having not been to one of these events myself, a portion of the weekend is dedicated to something called Fanatics Games, which for wrestlers, that calls for them to make their basically make their entrance. There's judges there. I believe it was Kathy Kelly, Sam Roberts, and someone else as judges. They basically just rank who has the best entrance, and that is a game that Seth Rollins found himself playing yesterday. So Seth Rollins comes out, he's got his Money in the Bank briefcase, he's doing all his big elaborate entrance. You know how it goes. Yeah, and then CM Punk, he decided to climb on the judges' table and just ruin Seth's big moment. The two talked trash to each other. Punk, I think it was Seth did the first push, but there was a little bit of handbags, as we would call it over here if you were a football fan. There's a bit of handbags, started pushing one another. Things got a little bit heated there. But security, they were on hand. They were able to step in before things managed to get properly physical. All then, as just to rub salt in the wounds, cult of personality, just nicely played. So, it's Seth Rollins' big moment, but no, CM Punk is still going to get that moment himself. Footage of this incident, that is all over social media today, and WWE themselves even, they've gone on to X, onto formerly Twitter, to post a clip of all of this. So yeah, obviously this was all at work, or likely planned ahead of time, or just done on the fly, because, these guys are seasoned veterans and pros. After all, it's tended to be on site when Punk and Rollins have seen each other in recent months. I say months. It's actually dates all the way back to Punk's return, 2023 Survivor Series. So a little bit more than a few months. But yeah, this was just a nice little surprise, a nice little moment for those fans at Fanatics Fest. And something you get people talking about online, especially, with Seth being Mr. Money in the Bank, CM Punk getting a shot at John Cena's WWE title at Night of Champions next weekend, and that kind of... Obviously, we had the three-way interaction between them on Raw a couple of weeks ago, where Seth kind of came out and like, I've got this. So yeah, now switching gears from some of the modern-day greats to one of the greatest to ever do it. Some would say the greatest, and that would be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, does the Texas Rattlesnake have one more match in him? Maybe. You're telling me there's a chance. Now, this comes from Fightful Select, who report that Austin told people over WrestleMania weekend that he, this is the quote here, might have one more in him. Now, of course, Austin came out of retirement to face Kevin Owens back at WrestleMania 38, which was a whole lot of fun. I had a blast with that, man. Stone Cold's first match since losing to The Rock all the way back at WrestleMania 19. Now, after that Owens match, Austin was approached for a WrestleMania 39 match against Roman Reigns, but of course, obviously, that did not come to pass. Now, Austin previously said how TKO hadn't reached out to him since their takeover. Though clearly somebody spoke to Austin for the appearance he had at WrestleMania 41 early this year, where he came out to announce the attendance for, was it day 2? Shawn Michaels day 1, Austin day 2? I believe that was the way around, wasn't it? That'd be where Austin crashed his ATV into the ringside barricade. Man, I was watching it thinking, he's going to crash. He's going to crash. The more he kept going round and round, and then he did. And it's like, no, what are you doing, Steve? And then you had there was a lady in the front row who took a mildly delayed bump, should we say, and then Nick Khan shot over to just, smooth things out as quickly as possible. Now, in terms of one more match for Austin, this Fightful report notes that a number of wrestlers have approached WWE management about facing off with Stone Cold because, of course, you would. It's Steve Austin, the hottest star of one of the hottest eras in wrestling history, a man who's on most people's Mount Rushmore. Speaking of which, actually, I should probably throw a little plug in. If you are regular on this channel, you will see we do our Chatty Faces, they're called, where there's one topic and all of us guys and girls talk about whatever it is, give our thoughts on it very quick. But we do got a Mount Rushmore, one of those are coming up, or our own personal Mount Rushmores. Actually, I say that about Stone Cold Steve Austin being on most people's. He wasn't actually on mine. So, hey, keep your eyes peeled for that landing on the channel at some point soon in the coming weeks. Right, so when you look at the names of who could face Steve Austin, of course, CM Punk is one that many fans would immediately you gravitate towards, like, yeah, I want to see Punk and Austin if there is that one more match. And this Fightful report adds that Punk is indeed one of the names that's been discussed internally as a potential opponent for Stone Cold, should he indeed end up lacing up his boots again, which, I mean, yeah, that just has me thinking of that brilliant, is it WWE 13, wasn't it, the video game, where it's that sit down with CM Punk, with Stone Cold Steve Austin, mediated by Jim Ross. And there was also a really fun backstage segment as well between Punk and Austin on Raw in, I think it was 2011, wasn't it? If I remember right, I think Austin was a guest general manager or something like that. And there was old Big Andy was there, Silent Rage. But the chemistry, the electricity, the tension in the brief interactions we've seen between Austin and Punk, yeah, man, just absolutely magnificent. Even to this day, I'll still go back every little while and rewatch that sit down with JR for the WWE 13, and it's just all about, they get heated with each other, and then it's like, but we just talk about the video game. Yeah, it's brilliant. So yes, you're telling me there's a chance of not just one more Steve Austin match, but if Steve Austin versus CM Punk, yeah, take my money, take it all, take it now, even if both men are clearly not in their primes. I mean, that Kevin Owens match, that was, like I said, that was a lot of fun for what it was. I had a lot of fun with that. Austin looked good once he got going. I mean, there was obviously, there's going to be a little bit of, I mean, we're not talking prime Steve Austin running wild in the Attitude Era, are we? We're talking someone who's a lot older and hadn't wrestled for, was it 19 years? But once he got going, it was great. And Owens just did so much to bump his ass off for Stone Cold there. And when you look at CM Punk as a potential opponent, I mean, Punk, again, he is not just because age catches up to us, CM Punk is still a fantastic professional wrestler, but he's maybe not quite as good as he once was, but he's still one of the best big match wrestlers in the world. So yeah, and speaking of big matches, one match that will now not be taking place this coming week is Noam Dar versus Channing Stacks Lorenzo. Not that I'm comparing Dar versus Stacks to Austin versus Punk, mind, which, yeah, and I like all guys involved. But yeah, Supernova 11, he was due to be defending the Heritage Cup against Stacks on this Tuesday's NXT. But not only will that match not be happening, but Noam has been forced to vacate the Heritage Cup due to injury. Now, this was announced on social media by NXT General Manager Ava, who confirmed that Stacks will face a to-be-confirmed opponent for the vacant Heritage Cup. There's no word on the exact injury for Noam Dar right now, and I mean, it wouldn't be right or fair to speculate on what that could be. But this, I mean, it's a big blow for Noam. He only returned in, April, after spending 11 months on the sidelines after, I believe it was a leg injury. Now, I mean, here's hoping it's nothing too serious for Noam and that he's back in action sooner rather than later. Just a hugely talented fella, a boatload of charisma, formerly a part of the WhatCulture Pro Wrestling roster as well, for that matter. So yeah, best of wishes from all of us here to Noam Dar on a full and speedy recovery, sir. Now, while we might not be seeing Noam Dar on our screens for a little while, one person who we will be seeing a bit more of is Kota Ibushi, who, of course, was a part of the WWE Cruiserweight Classic with Noam back in 2016. But now Kota made his surprise return to AEW on last night's Collision, a first AEW appearance in well over a year. I mean, Ibushi's return came about as Kazuchika Okada was formally confirmed to be a part of the Don Callis family. And now in the ring, you had Don Callis, you had Okada, you had Lance Archer, Josh Alexander, and Don cut a promo on basically the state of Kenny Omega, the state that Kenny was left in last week. That was the really over-the-top cartoon blood that looked like something out of a naff 80s horror film. And I love my naff 80s horror films. Don was basically saying that, what state's Kenny going to be in if he makes it to All In, where he will face Okada. And also pointed out that, Kenny Omega doesn't have any friends and that he'll be all alone at All In. Which led to Mark Briscoe coming out, I love me some chicken, man, and saying that, no, Kenny Omega has some friends, such as this man. And there we go. Out comes Kota Ibushi, looking absolutely jacked as well. Briscoe took out Lance Archer. Kota dealt with Josh Alexander. Then Then you had Ibushi and Okada facing off before they hit some forearms on each other. Kota kind of got the advantage there, hit some of his strikes, and Okada bailed to the outside. Now it was later announced that Ibushi would be wrestling on Dynamite this coming Wednesday. Although as of this recording, unless something's been announced since then, I don't think an opponent was revealed. I didn't see anything anyway. Ibushi though. He hasn't wrestled at all since February, but his last AEW match, you have to go all the way back to November 2023, 19 months ago, which is crazy. That was some 8-man tag match featuring Kenny. Jericho was involved, I think. I'm pretty sure the Big Show, Paul White, was involved in that one as well. And actually, Ibushi was teaming with Kyle Fletcher, Brian Cage, who are both in the Callis family, and somebody else whose name totally evades me right now. But anyway, for those wondering what happens to Kota Ibushi, shortly after that 8-man match that I was talking about there, that was the November 2023, I believe it was the following January, essentially broke both his ankles for Noah in a match against Naomichi Marufuji, which that was itself on the back of, there was that like arm shoulder injury that he'd had a few years before that maybe he came back a little bit early from, if anything. So yeah, the Kota Ibushi that we saw in AEW previously, I mean, let's just say it wasn't exactly prime Kota Ibushi. There are some suggestions, like I said, that maybe possibly returned too early after that arm shoulder injury. To be honest, it was a bit tough to watch at times. Just you can tell his movement was restricted. He was slow and plodding, and it was not Kota Ibushi. Now, I mean, it was only brief last night, and it was only a few shots at Josh Alexander and Kazuchika Okada. But Ibushi looked great to me. I mean, physically, like I said, he was in phenomenal shape. His movement was a lot more fluid than his previous AW appearances. But yeah, that was a quick flurry for, barely a couple of minutes. So we'll have to see how Ibushi looks when he's in a full match, which will be starting on Dynamite this coming Wednesday. And with that brings today's news to a close. This has been WhatCulture Wrestling. I don't know why I was going to sing the name of of our channel. This has been the Solo Sunday News. I've been Andrew Pollard. Be well, stay safe, and I will catch you next weekend.